Libra, something rare and life-shifting is unfolding starting now. Between October 11th and 13th, a powerful 3-day portal will open just for you, and 3 unexpected blessings will arrive. 1 will shift your finances. 1 will transform your heart. And 1 will call you back into your full light. This video isn't just a horoscope, it's a divine transmission designed to find you when you're ready to receive. And if you're watching this right now, I believe that readiness is already in motion. Have you ever wondered why your efforts haven't yet been seen the way they deserve to be? Why love, money, or clarity sometimes feel just out of reach, no matter how much you give? The answer isn't that you're missing something. It's that timing hasn't aligned until now. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. I'm deeply honored to be your guide today as we walk through the sacred days of October 11th, 12th, and 13, each carrying a specific energetic gift for you, Libra. This isn't a general reading. This is precise, aligned, and crafted for your sign with care, reverence, and cosmic timing. The truth is, Libra, you've spent years creating peace for others. Silencing your own needs. Making space. Making room. Holding things together when no one noticed. But the universe has noticed. And this portal? It's your reward. It's not the result of striving. It's the arrival of balance finally tipping in your favor. On October 11th, a financial opportunity returns, but this time, it's wrapped in divine timing. On October 12th, a soul-aligned connection steps into your field not to complete you, but to reflect your worth. And on October 13th, your voice becomes undeniable, your essence becomes magnetic. Together, these moments begin what I call your millionaire era, but not just in dollars. In confidence. In clarity. In spiritual richness. So let me ask you, are you willing to receive? To stop proving, fixing, chasing, and start allowing? If your heart says yes, I invite you to type it below. Write, I claim my millionaire era. These words are not just for the algorithm. They're for the quantum field. For your ancestors. For every unseen part of you that's waited patiently to be chosen. Again, comment, I claim my millionaire era, not as a wish, but as a declaration. I also want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude. Your presence here means everything. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you closer to the soul family we're building here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support doesn't just help this channel, it activates a ripple of transformation that touches others who need these messages too. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. And Libra, stay with me until the very end of this video. Because what the universe is about to reveal to you next, it's not only timely. It's sacred. It's the turning point you've been praying for. The kind of divine orchestration you can feel in your bones. Now tell me in the comments. What drew you here today? Was it a dream, a sign, a feeling you couldn't shake? Write it down. Let's make space for it together. Your story matters. And it begins right here. Sometimes the universe whispers not through thunder, but through a gentle rearranging of the air around you. October 11th is one of those days. For Libra, this moment carries the quiet force of divine recalibration, a shift that doesn't demand attention, but one that transforms everything it touches. With the Sun forming a rare trine to Pluto, two powerful celestial bodies align to awaken your value system and realign your relationship with purpose, power, and prosperity. This is not about instant fortune or lottery-like surprises. It's about long-awaited return, about something you once gave your heart to making its way back to you, but this time with weight, worth, and recognition. Astrologically, the second house, governing personal finance, self-worth, and material resources, and the 10th house, career, legacy, and your public contribution, are softly ignited. You may feel it as a sudden nudge to open an old message thread, revisit a shelved idea, or respond to something you've been putting off. And here's the thing: what you thought was closed or denied may now return with a completely different energy. But this time, Libra, you must meet it with your full presence. The Ace of Pentacles appears here as a symbol of divine investment. Not just a job offer or a payment, but a sacred gesture from the universe that says, "I see what you've built in the dark." Paired with the Justice card, your ruling archetype, this combination tells a deeper story. It suggests that something long delayed is no longer being withheld out of punishment or oversight, but rather preserved for the precise moment when your readiness and your reward could meet in full alignment. That moment is now. Many Libras have walked through seasons of invisibility where you gave, supported, held space for others, but felt unseen. This day marks the soft opening of a new era, one in which your inner harmony becomes a magnetic signal to the world. But in order for it to truly land, you must allow yourself to receive. That can be harder than it sounds. Receiving, especially for someone who has given so much, often triggers questions of worth. Do I deserve this? Is it real? Will it last? But remember, resistance often shows up right before alignment. Your task isn't to chase, prove, or control. It's to remain grounded enough to recognize the doorway when it opens. In moments like these, we're reminded of how faith operates, not always as belief in things unseen, but as quiet trust that what's meant for you is already moving your way. You don't need to grasp or hustle. You only need to respond with clarity and courage. Sometimes, miracles arrive not in flashes of light, but in emails you almost deleted, calls you nearly ignored, or gut instincts that feel too subtle to explain. This is where real transformation begins, in your willingness to follow the thread of curiosity without demanding guarantees. If you're looking for something to anchor your energy today, try this. Write down the 3 financial breakthroughs you're ready to receive, not from a place of desperation, but from gentle expectancy. Read them aloud each morning like a love letter to your future self. Let them become part of your field. Let them feel normal. That's when things begin to shift. And take care of your body during this energetic softening. Keep your meals light, limit your caffeine, and give yourself enough hydration and rest to stay attuned. When your nervous system is calm, your discernment sharpens. You see with clarity what's truly meant for you and, more importantly, what's not. Because sometimes, Libra, a door reopens not to test you, but to show you how much you've grown. This is your quiet return. A reminder that all the good you've placed into the world does, eventually, find its way back. But not to the version of you who gave it away. It returns to the version of you who now knows how to hold it with grace. Stay with this energy. Let it unfold. What comes next will not need to be forced, it will simply arrive. Something shifts quietly when the moon enters Cancer, tender stirring beneath the surface, like a ripple through still water. For Libra, October 12th doesn't arrive with fireworks, but with emotion. It's a day designed not to test your strength, but to soften your edges. This is when the cosmos leans in and whispers, "Let yourself be seen." You may not realize it yet, but someone is stepping into your life or returning not to disrupt your peace, but to become a mirror to your healing. The astrology of this day invites you inward, back to the memories you may have buried, the tenderness you've postponed, the connections you once thought were left behind. When the moon enters Cancer, it moves through the realm of memory, family, nurturing, and heart-centered safety. It's like being drawn into a familiar room you forgot existed within yourself. You may feel nostalgic, emotional, maybe even uncertain. But these feelings are not signs of weakness, they are signals of an opening. This is the kind of energy that awakens something sacred inside you, the permission to love more honestly, to speak without rehearsing, to listen with your whole body. And on this day, you may find yourself thinking of a person whose presence once awakened something quiet and true in you. Perhaps they never knew how deeply they touched your life. Or perhaps, in another time, the connection felt impossible. But timing, as you know, changes everything. The tarot confirms this delicate yet powerful window. The appearance of the Two of Cups alongside the star speaks volumes. This is not about chasing a fairy tale. It's about a real, reciprocal, soul-level exchange. This energy doesn't ask you to lose yourself in another person. It invites you to finally see yourself through their eyes. To feel what it's like to be known not as a role you play, but as who you truly are when you're not performing, not fixing, not striving. It's an invitation to return to the language of the heart, to trust that even in a world that moves too fast, there are still moments where time stands still for connection. There's a kind of healing that only arrives in the presence of another. Not because they save you, but because they stay. When you open your heart even a little, you open space for someone else's heart to meet you there. This kind of vulnerability isn't easy, especially for someone like you who's spent so long holding balance for others. But balance doesn't mean isolation. And peace doesn't require silence. Sometimes, peace is two people sharing a truth at the same time. Sometimes, healing looks like sending that message you've written a dozen times but never had the courage to send. Not to get a response, but to honor what's still alive in you. In a world where we are often taught to protect ourselves first, opening your heart can feel like a risk. But I want to remind you, not all risks are dangerous. Some are divine. When you let yourself be seen, truly seen, you give permission for grace to enter. There's power in reaching out without attachment to outcome. There's beauty in choosing softness when the world tells you to harden. This is not weakness. It's wisdom. If your heart is feeling drawn to someone today, follow it with gentleness. Reach out. Reconnect. Or simply speak the words aloud to yourself, "I am open to be seen." You don't need to know what will come next. You only need to show up with truth. Even in faith, we're reminded daily that love is action, not just feeling. In the quiet moments of devotion, even small gestures, a word, a kindness, a remembering can become portals for miracles. Let this be one of those moments. A tiny act of openness. A gesture toward love. A choice to be whole. Because when the right person sees your heart, it doesn't need explanation. It only needs honesty. And today, Libra, honesty is what will set your healing free. There's a certain clarity that only arrives after you've sat in silence with yourself long enough to hear your real voice. And Libra, on October 13th, that voice rises not in a whisper, but in a way the world can no longer ignore. After the softness of emotional surrender and the quiet courage of allowing someone to truly see you, this final day in your 3-day portal isn't about reflection, it's about declaration. With Mercury forming a powerful trine to Uranus, this is the moment where breakthroughs happen not because you forced them, but because you finally allowed yourself to think, speak, and act from a place of unfiltered truth. Astrologically, Mercury represents thought, communication, and expression, while Uranus is the planet of awakening, change, and bold originality. When these two connect harmoniously, your mind opens to higher insight, and your words begin to shape the reality around you with speed and impact. But this is more than just cosmic permission to speak up. This is alignment between your inner knowing and your outer action. The kind of alignment that doesn't ask for validation. It simply moves forward, clear, bright, and undeniably alive. Tarot confirms this energetic moment with the Queen of Swords and the Sun, two cards that together speak of unapologetic wisdom and radiant authenticity. The Queen of Swords doesn't hide behind pleasantries or wait to be chosen. She claims her space with precision and grace. And the Sun? It simply shines. It doesn't compare. It doesn't shrink. It beams from the center of its own truth, and in doing so, everything around it blooms. This is the energy available to you now. To speak what you've been holding back. To begin what you've been postponing. To show up not as someone who hopes to be enough, but as someone who finally understands that they already are. And here's what makes this moment even more powerful. In numerology, 13 reduces to 4, a number of foundations, structure, and rooted beginnings. While many associate the number 13 with endings, in your case, Libra, it marks a re-anchoring of your path. A return to center, only now with tools, experiences, and clarity you didn't have before. You're not starting over. You're building forward with confidence, integrity, and new light. This is not the day to study another course, delay another launch, or wait for another sign. This is the day to take action. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Send the email. Record the video. Post the idea you've hidden in drafts for months. Sign your name on the application. Speak the pitch out loud. What matters isn't the scale of the step. What matters is the energy behind it. And today, that energy is aligned, sharp, and ready to carry you. If you're wondering how to tap deeper into this current, consider how you show up visually and energetically. Colors like royal blue and golden yellow are particularly activated for you today. Blue supporting clear communication and yellow amplifying joy, confidence, and visibility. Dress with intention. Speak with conviction. Move like someone whose presence has meaning because it does. This day is a divine response to the quiet work you've been doing behind the scenes. The prayers you whispered when no one was listening. The dreams you kept alive even when evidence was scarce. It reminds me of those moments in life when people receive a blessing they've longed for, not at their loudest, but at their most honest. When everything aligns, not because you asked louder, but because your energy finally matched what you were asking for. So Libra, ask yourself with tenderness, what am I no longer willing to postpone? You don't have to do it all. But you must start. Today. Not because someone gave you permission, but because your soul did. And that permission is more than enough. Sometimes, the hardest part of receiving isn't the actual arrival of the blessing, it's allowing ourselves to believe we're worthy of holding it. After days of deep emotional unfolding and spiritual alignment, Libra, you've now stepped into the heart of this portal. And here, at the center of your personal transformation, is one question that echoes louder than all the rest. Can you open your heart wide enough to let the good in? Because being wealthy in this lifetime spiritually, emotionally, and yes, even materially doesn't begin with external accumulation. It begins with capacity. With allowing. With the inner decision to stop surviving and begin receiving. Many Libras have spent their lives holding peace for others. You have played the harmonizer, the steady hand, the soft voice in chaos. And while that role is sacred, it can also become a mask. One that tells you to keep giving while shrinking your own dreams. But not anymore. This is the chapter where the scales tip, not because you forced them to, but because the universe has watched long enough. You are not just being rewarded. You are being recentered. And the message is clear: your openness determines the overflow. The most abundant people in this world are not those who hustle the hardest. They're the ones who energetically align, even in small daily ways, with the version of themselves that already lives in clarity, freedom, and grace. And alignment doesn't happen in noise. It happens in decisions. Quiet, consistent, heart-centered decisions. Like choosing to speak your desires out loud, even when no one is listening. Like making your coffee in the morning while saying, "I allow ease to flow into my life." Like sitting still for just 5 minutes and writing, "I receive love, money, and light with an open heart." Not as fantasy. As fact. As the blueprint of your next reality. This moment you're in? It's less about striving and more about softening. Less about achieving and more about embodying. When you act, speak, and think from the belief that you are already enough, already loved, already supported, everything around you begins to echo that truth. And it's not magic. It's principle. Just as gravity holds us to the earth, energy principles hold our desires to the field of manifestation. What you give daily attention to begins to expand. But here's where it becomes even more sacred. In our busiest, most distracted seasons, we often forget that faith is not just a feeling, it's a rhythm. It's showing up to life with trust, especially when the next step isn't clear. I've seen people's lives change not because of one grand act, but because of tiny moments when they said yes to what scared them a little, yet called to them deeply. A whispered, "I'm ready," a text sent after months of silence, a vision board created in the stillness of a Sunday afternoon. These are modern miracles in motion. These are acts of faith in disguise. One of the most powerful principles that underpins both scripture and universal law is this: what you do with the little you have shapes how the greater will meet you. Faithfulness in the small opens the gates for the large. So ask yourself, gently but honestly, what is one small act I can take today that reflects the version of me who is no longer waiting for abundance, but welcoming it? Don't overcomplicate this. Open your journal. Write the sentence, "I receive love, money, and light with an open heart." Read it again. Then close your eyes and let that truth settle into your body. That's enough. That's powerful. That's real. And if you're feeling called to take it one step further, choose one small thing today that symbolizes readiness. It might be cleaning your wallet. It might be replying to an email you've ignored. It might be simply thanking yourself for how far you've come. What matters is the intention behind the action. When it's rooted in openness, it becomes a magnet for momentum. Libra, you are no longer on the edge of your life. You are at the center of it. And the beauty of this moment is not in how fast it moves, but in how deeply it lands. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself hold it. Let yourself know, without a doubt, that your time is not Kaminjit's here. The energy of this moment is no longer about waiting, it's about remembering. Not remembering with your mind, but with your spirit. Libra, after days of revelation, emotional opening, and inner clarity, you now stand in the space where truth meets choice. You've seen the alignment. You've felt the shifts. You've heard the quiet knock of destiny on your door. Now the only question left is, will you answer it? This is not about rushing forward or doing more. It's about choosing what has already chosen you. Many people think transformation begins when the external world changes, when the money comes, the partner arrives, the recognition happens. But real transformation begins the moment you take one small action that aligns with the future you've been dreaming of. Not to chase it, but to become the person who holds it with ease. Think about that. If you truly believed your desires were not only possible, but already on the way, how would you move today? What would you say yes to? What would you finally stop postponing? You don't need to leap. You just need to step. Quietly. Intentionally. Powerfully. There's a line between dreaming and doing, and you're standing on it right now. And what lives on the other side isn't complicated, it's just unfamiliar. That's why we resist. Not because we're unworthy, but because we're used to being on the edge of the story, not in the center of it. But Libra, the story has always been about you. Your light. Your balance. Your sacred yes. If you're wondering what action to take, look for the thing you've been circling. The thing that keeps returning to your thoughts at night. The idea you've scribbled in a journal but haven't spoken aloud. The decision you keep delaying until you're ready. What if readiness isn't something that arrives but something you activate? What if the universe doesn't need a perfect plan from you, just a willing heart? Sometimes, the most sacred breakthroughs happen in ordinary moments. Someone lights a candle and whispers a new intention. Someone writes an email that's been sitting in drafts for months. Someone walks into a room they used to avoid and something shifts forever. That's how quiet the beginning of a new life can be. And sometimes, that's how it should be. Gentle. Sincere. True. You might feel like you've been waiting for a sign, for a miracle, for confirmation that it's finally time. But what if the miracle is already in motion, waiting for you to meet it halfway? In the busyness of our lives, it's easy to believe that only the loudest gestures bring change. But I've seen it again and again. The smallest act, when rooted in clarity, creates momentum that no amount of overthinking ever could. Like the widow who gave her last coin in quiet faith, or the person who forgave even when no one said sorry. Sometimes, the unseen acts are the ones that shake heaven. So today, I invite you to choose one thing that reflects your inner shift. Light a candle, blue for calm truth, gold for radiant confidence. Wear lapis lazuli to support your voice, or rose quartz to anchor softness and worth. Take 5 minutes of stillness to speak your next step out loud. And if you're still not sure what that step is, ask yourself this: what decision am I still delaying? And if I already knew I was enough, what would I do today? Don't wait for perfect timing. Timing becomes perfect when you move in alignment. And everything you desire? It's already waiting just beyond one sacred, quiet, powerful yes. Libra, you were never meant to live quietly on the sidelines of your own story. You were made to lead not with noise, but with elegance. Not through force, but through balance. Not by trying to fit the mold, but by redefining what alignment, grace, and abundance look like when they flow through someone as heart-led and vision-driven as you. Over these past few minutes, you've walked through the rare portal of October 11th to 13 not just with your ears, but with your soul. And now, as we gently close this sacred circle, I want to remind you, the power was never in the prediction. It was always in your permission. You've seen how energy shifts when you choose to receive. You've felt how your heart softens when you allow someone to truly see you. You've realized that clarity doesn't come from knowing everything, it comes from trusting the next small step. So let me ask you this: what would change in your life if you stopped waiting for proof and started moving as if what you wanted was already on its way? What doors would open if you believed fully that your voice, your light, your dreams were already valid? We often think the world needs something more from us: more effort, more perfection, more sacrifice. But what the world really needs is more people who live from a place of quiet, radiant alignment. People who embody peace rather than just preach it. People who receive with humility, give without depletion, and move forward even when no one else claps yet. Libra, this is who you're becoming. This is who you already are underneath the doubt, beyond the delays, past all the moments where you dimmed yourself so others could feel comfortable. So before this moment fades, take it with you. Let it live inside your choices. Let it shape how you wake up tomorrow. Let it echo in your tone when you speak up in rooms you used to shrink in. Let it guide your next, yes, the one you've been holding back for far too long. And if something from this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Write it down. Anchor it. Breathe life into it by speaking it aloud. You can start by dropping this in the comments right now: I claim my millionaire era. Don't just type it for me. Type it for you, for the version of you who almost gave up, who almost settled, but chose instead to stay open. And while you're here, I want to thank you. Truly. Your presence, your energy, and your willingness to explore these truths alongside me is what keeps this channel alive, not just in views, but in vibration. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just support for Zodiac Whisper Tarot, it's a signal to the universe that you're ready to align with more. More truth. More clarity. More abundance that feels like home. So take a deep breath, and know this: you don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything. But you do have to keep choosing. Choosing the version of you who believes, who receives, and who no longer waits to be chosen because they already are. This is your turning point, Libra. You're not just stepping into a new chapter, you're rewriting it. And the pen has always been in your hand. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this spiritual family. Thank you for trusting your timing. Wherever you are right now, you are already becoming everything you were designed to be. And I can't wait to see what unfolds next. Stay close. Stay open. And remember, this is just the beginning.